What's going on? It's the OG, JKE. I need your opinion on something.
Bless same-sex unions, quote, since God cannot bless sin. They go on to say that this does not imply a judgment on persons, but I want to know, do you think this sends a damaging message, and how do you feel about that, given that obviously you are now engaged and going to get married?
Well, I think listen, I respect people's right to believe in whatever they want to believe in their God. But if you believe in something that hurts another person or that does not give someone the same rights or freedoms, not necessarily under the Constitution, because this is under God, I think that that's wrong.
We say it's not harming anybody. It's me in my bedroom. Well, the current debate about marriage explodes that myth. This is not private. This is pressing upon culture as a whole. Mm-hmm. And because they framed it in civil rights language, mm-hmm. it means that this is the greatest farce ever. You can go ahead and practice your religion. This has nothing to do with you practicing your religion. If this is a civil rights issue, and if us not doing weddings for homosexuals or not hiring homosexuals becomes violating civil rights, then it is not conceivable that the church will be unharmed. So that myth is exploded. This is not private. This is public.
From what I was taught, and what I know, and what I figured out myself, right is right, wrong is wrong. And yeah, it's judge not, you be less judged. Right. Right. It's in the word. Matthew 7:1. But it was a city that was back in the days. This before Jesus. It was a city. Sodom and Gomorrah. This city was like wiped out because of the acts, ACT, that was going on in that city. I gotta read that. Now listen, can't just give y'all that scripture out my head. It's in the Old Testament. It's in the Old Testaments. Yeah. It's either Genesis or Exodus. Hold on, I gotta check that out yourself. So God wiped away the whole town. And then old boy wife turned around and fell into a pillar of salt. So check that out.
And to put it in the context of race, I find that, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said the most segregated place on earth, time on earth, was 11 a.m. on a Sunday morning.
Being homosexual is not the same thing as being black or being white or being whatever. It's not the same thing. It's not an immutable characteristic, and nobody has proven otherwise. There is zero biological evidence that there's an immutable characteristic. If there was biological evidence, then you could prove that somebody was homosexual after they died. All you have to do is do an autopsy. You just do a postmortem, go into the brain and find that area in the brain that homosexuals have. Wait, what? Nothing in the brain? Okay, well, go into the genes and find that gene nothing in the genes? Well, I heard about a pheromone study. You go into the pheromone. Oh, really? That was not, There's absolutely nothing that proves that there is such a thing as a person who is a homosexual. There are people who practice homosexuality, but there is nothing in the world, nothing that demonstrates that there is a class or category of people who are immutably and unchangeably homosexuals, just like I'm immutably and unchangeably a black person.
Say, it's not no type of nothing that you born in your brain that give you that type of cell or whatever it is. That's all on you. So you're not born with whatever, you know, you may, oh man, I'm trying to figure out how to explain it. But he just explained it. But yeah, on what he just explained, he said you're not born with that. So that's like on you just feel like this is what you want to be, or this is what you prefer on your own. There's no type of scientific nothing, cell, matter, anything that just you born like you born this way and it's the way it's supposed to. No. That is a self-preference type of thing, because it's not a God genetic type of thing. It's like automatic in your genetics. No. At least that's what my God just said. So you gotta take that into consideration. Man, they studying brains out here on this. They is studying the brain or whatever's up there to see, was it like a born genetic, like is it born in you from when you come up, you know, when you come up out of where you be hidden it for them 9-10 months. That's a good one. That's a good one. That boy breaking it down. Man, that's all right. Let's see what my guy's talking about.
I think that religion and the pew keeps us from actually, they're barriers from people actually getting to know each other. So I would say to the Pope and the Vatican and all Christians or Catholics or whomever, whatever religion you believe you happen to belong to out there, go out and meet people.
God is the author of marriage, not man. Therefore, God is the one who defines marriage, not man. Therefore, man does not have the right to introduce the concept of same-sex marriage. Number one, because by definition, it's not marriage, it's another thing. And number two, because by definition, it goes against what was created
Try
in
to
Genesis
understand
chapter 2.
people and do what the Bible and what Jesus actually said if you believe in Jesus, and that is to love your fellow man and judge not lest ye be not judged.
Jesus was there.
Who?
Sodom and Gomorrah. He was raining down fire and brimstone. Jesus is the author of Leviticus. So you can't say that Jesus never addressed the issue of homosexuality unless you're going to argue that Jesus has a different opinion on the issue than the Father and the Spirit. This is hugely problematic because that would mean a breach in the Trinity and the whole universe would cave in on itself.
I'm not homophobic at all. I can be around anybody. I respect people for themselves. But I know the truth. I was raised in the church, Pentecostal. So I know this and that and this. So and then it comes to old Lemon, like what he represent for this, you know, CNN, you know, all the different things they talk about, especially when it comes to, you know, this end culture, things like that. So, but his personal business is personal business, you know what I'm saying? What he do as the anchor of then it's a little different. So, you know what I'm saying? It's, you know, it's not up to me. So.
Instead of having the pew hinder you, having the church hinder you, instead of being segregated in the church or among yourselves, go out and have a barbecue and meet people and start start breaking bread with people and getting to know them.
The fact of the matter is we're in this world, although we're not of this world. The fact of the matter is the church is the pillar and the ground of truth. And we don't take the truth and hide it under a bushel. That's not the church. We don't live these completely separate, sort of bifurcated lives. That we are the light of the world. We are the salt that preserves. And so it's just completely, it's inconceivable that we would not speak to this issue.
Much as I do at Joy's house, mostly Sonny coming to my house, Sarah coming to my house, me going to Whoopi's house for barbecues, and I'm telling the truth, and then hopefully I will be celebrating some sort of meal with Megan and Liberty at her house or at my house. So that's what I think people should do more of.
The other thing is that all legal decisions are based on principles and established precedent. And right now the principle is, you know, sort of the Beatles mentality. All you need is love. Well, if that's the case, if marriage is based on popular opinion and who loves each other, the 50-year-old man and the 12-year-old boy, the man and his daughter, so on and so forth. And everybody say, oh, red herring. No, not once the principle is established. So this is not private, and it doesn't stop here.
This is something I want to talk about today. But it just, you know, some little content just popped up on me to bring to y'all. You know, who am I? I'm judge, can't judge, but I know the truth. I know the truth, and I personally don't have no feelings toward it. You know, like that. Because I can hang around, you know, an effeminate, gay, or the LGBTQAQEIO, you know, I can hang around them all. They human beings. They just have they prefer the opposite of what of their origination, if that's a word, of their originality, original. They just, you know, want to twist or bend or flip it a little bit, you know. But hey, man, I mean, you know, God might got a problem with it, you know, but hey, well, who am I to badge to hate, to do all that because of something you chose to be or something, you know, you prefer to do? Who am I? I'm just a nobody. Y'all got me today. Y'all got your boy today. So all I'm saying is, it's a reason why that scripture says, judge not, ye be not. There's a reason why I say that. So who are we to judge? That judgment only come from the top. You know? We can't do that. We are not the persecutors, prosecutors, however you want to put it. We not them. So, yeah, man. And then if you don't love your brother, you see here on earth, you don't love your brother, you're not entering up there through the gates. So you gotta love your brother. Can't hate nobody. Then you gonna bring that to the to the upper echelon, you can't bring none of that. That's why you gotta go through it here, because you're practicing on getting yourself as close as possible to the 100%. So you go up there and be who you're supposed to be, where you're gonna be who you're supposed to be here too as well. But I'm just saying, man, you know what I'm trying to say on what I'm trying to say on how I'm trying to say. So yeah. Get a little bit
Most of you older people grew up in a time period in America when there was cultural Christianity. There was a kind of Christian consensus in America. People understood the church, they understood the Bible, they understood the gospel, they understood the morality that came out of the Bible. Sometimes it was called the Judeo-Christian ethic. But even more, it was a cultural kind of Christianity. If you grew up in the South, you probably joined a church, some church, because if you joined a church, you'd get a job at the bank. If you joined a church, you could be hired somewhere because you were one of the good guys. If you joined a church, you connected with other people and you were socially acceptable and you were religious and you believed in God, and that was good. Like the founders of America, they didn't believe in the God of the Bible, but they believed they couldn't keep people moral if there wasn't some divine threat. So they created a God of their own imagining to hold over people's heads. And so there was a belief in God, and it was defined primarily by the Bible, so there was a kind of cultural morality that survived a long time in America, and it was showing up in elections 20 years ago, 15 years ago. There was still a consensus. We remember the moral majority, the religious right. They were still able to get people elected, still able to have some clout and some power. Let me tell you something. Gone. Gone. No more. There is no more cultural Christianity. There is no collective Christian consensus that is going to have any power in this country whatsoever. In fact, the more distinctly Christian we are, the more we will be labeled as extremists, bizarre, alien, homophobic, intolerant, guilty of hate crimes. Cultural Christianity is, as we know it, that kind of consensus coming from a biblical understanding is gone.
All right. That's about all I got for y'all today. I'm gonna bring something back a little later. Yeah, man. Like, comment, subscribe. OG Jake 84 in the building.